Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. As I've got all these over here to water them, I thought we'd have a closer look. In some cases there's nothing to see. They're all at different stages, and so we start here. These are the ones that were all bought at Burnham's when I had the sort of special trip up the day before they went online. The idea was that I could hand pick my own bulbs rather than have them picked for me, and get first pick. That was the important bit because they went really quickly. So let's just have a look then. If you have a look at this one, I'll do the names. That's Vicky, and what we've got here is two of the bulbs are showing their shoot. The third one isn't yet. Now these were positioned in such a way that the new shoots should always come out on the outside of the bulbs, so that they've got plenty of room in the pot to expand to their full size during this growing season. So as you can see, the shoots are on the outside of the bulbs. This one lagging behind at the moment. Now this one is nothing to see at all. That is Marion Johnson, Bubs. These names aren't going to mean anything until we get blooms and we can get some pictures of the blooms and start doing pop-ups and things in the future. And then this one is Quizapoo Peregrine, and we have a growth there just showing through, and we have one here pushing on and this one lagging behind. So movement in this pot. And then coming over here, this is Vesuvius Leopard, and we have no, oh yes we do, there's a shoot there just starting to show. So some slight movement on that pot, but not a lot. And this pot, we've got no signs of life at all at the moment. That is Santorini. And then on the last one over here, this is the one I could only afford two because they were expensive. This is the yellow one, Shantung Ducat, and both of these are shooting out nicely. Single shoots, it'd be nice to have got a pair, but to try and get two shoots is up to my growing season. Now this is quite important because the size of the bulbs in this growing season will be from these new growths, because these bulbs will be gone by the end of the season. They will just shrivel up and they'll be gone. What we're left with is this year's bulbs from these new shoots, and it's up to me to get those as large as possible. Now the strength in the bulbs that I've got now is what's going to produce blooms. Yeah? And then after the blooms, the roots and the leaves grow, and the feeding and watering of those is what produces the size and strength of the bulbs for next year's blooms. So the bigger and better bulbs that I can grow, the more strength is stored up in them, ready for blooms next year. So that's the goal, is to get as much into these as possible. Once they get going, I mean, as I said, they're all a bit... now this one is Tongariro, or some of it is, and maybe all of it is. That remains to be seen. The bulbs from Helen, she's got a question mark on whether hers are Tongariro or not. I'm pretty confident they are. But this one in the centre and another one, I forget where it is, are definitely Tongariro because they came from Burnham's with a tag. The rest maybe, but we've got quite a bit of movement going on here. We've got some shoots pushing on, many of them, so lots of these are coming into growth, and hopefully a fair few of them will be flowers. There are some tiny little bulbs in here, some little bulbils, which hopefully will produce a leaf and then a bigger, better bulb for next year. The ones that are shooting up now are highly likely to be flowering size. So that's coming on. Reasonable pot full there. That's my only what you'd call a pot full. Then this is the only species I've got. This is Formosana. This came from Burnham's as well. Now what we've got here is 2 bulbs, and they are just starting to shoot. Small bulbs these, but I believe that is how they are. I started filming, didn't I? Come on then. It's funny actually seeing Insa's cat being declared very skinny. Mojo is almost half the weight he once was. He was up towards 5 kilos once. He's not much more than 2 now. He's lost all his weight, but he's still a happy cat. He still gets about, don't you? Hey, come on then. You still eat him well, but he is pretty skinny nowadays, and he plods. He doesn't dart around anymore, but he still gets about. He can still do the stairs. He can still jump up on the settee where his fluffy blanket is. He still jumps up on the chair, gets on my lap, and he still jumps up on the bed and sleeps on the pillow next to me. So he's still agile enough to do all that. I mean, towards the end, Elvis couldn't get up the stairs, and he certainly couldn't jump up on the bed or the chairs. I had to get him a little beddy by things on the floor so that everything for him was at floor level on the ground floor. Mojo's certainly still got his mobility at the moment. So right, so where were we? Last couple. Now this one is Hertha Kretz something or other. Kretz Yuli is a strange name. It's one of the ones that came from Mather's, and we've got no signs of life on this yet. That's no signs of life at all. And then we've got my most advanced, which is this one here, which has actually got a flower that's about to open. You can just start to see the patterning and the colour of the lip, and also the size of the flower. Yeah? If these are the petals, sepals sort of thing, and they're going to open out, it's going to be quite a large flower. So that's good. And that is on this bulb here that also has a second shoot. And then we have another bulb over here with a shoot that's got a good sized bud. And then this shoot here has got 2 buds. So that should be 2 bulbs for next year, I think. I'm not sure. It looks like to me like the stem has split, which implies to me there's still only one basis, one that will produce a bulb, but we do have a secondary shoot over here. So 2 of these have got 2 shoots, and one's got a single shoot, and we should have a flower soon, and that is Pleione Zeus. So those are the various stages. This is the most advanced, with obvious buds pushing up and a flower about to open, you know, down to those that are still completely dormant. So, you know, we've got lots of stages, lots going on. Now, my friend Alan has got lots of these in his garden under a conifer tree, so they don't get the sun straight on them as effectively, but they stay out in the garden. Well, we've had nothing but rain this year. It's rained nearly every day this year. They're okay, you know. And one of the videos I've seen is of a specialist nursery. This is what they do. They grow Pleiones and sell them. That's what they do. And they don't take them out of the pots. They only take them out of the pots or large trays that they grow them in when they need to move them on or split them up to smaller units to sell. And they water them throughout the year. So this business of bone dry through the winter, and I've also seen videos and read that you should never water them until the roots start growing, and that's not until after flowering. I'm personally taking no notice of that. Now, it's like I always say, you know, you don't necessarily have to do as I do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and why. And I don't think these need to be kept dry that long. I think by having some moisture around the base of the bulbs, it's actually going to encourage the roots and give them something to get into straight away, and head down into, you know, a moist environment where they should expand and do well. That's my idea anyway, and it goes along with some people's thinking, but not everybody's. Like I say, there's never one way to do things. There are many ways. Mather's, that's got national collection and everything, and a huge area that's dedicated to Pleiones. They don't take them out of the pots and dry them off and stick them in the fridge. But the time they've done that, it would be time to put them back in the pots. It would take so long. So, you know, they repot when the media's either old and stale, or there's so many bulbs in the pot there isn't room for any new growth. And then, you know, then they deal with them. Now mine are all in brand new media. They have no reason to come out of these pots unless there isn't room for next year's growth. And we'll see how that goes. But at the moment they're all in fresh media. It's well draining. If I pour a litre of moisture in one of these pots, I'll get almost a litre out the bottom. Not quite. It does hold a little moisture. And as the season progresses, the pots will start holding a bit more moisture as the media sort of gets to that stage. And in addition to that, they'll get watered more often once we start seeing leaves. Because once the leaves start growing, I know that there's roots going on. And I'm not prepared to keep taking the bulbs out to see if they've got roots and then putting them back in again. Chances are they could get root disturbance, you know, unintentionally, but it's not worth doing it. So, here we go. Come on then. Don't know how he knows that. My problem with Mojo is, with his age, him losing weight is just to be expected, basically. As I say, if he lasts long enough, he could actually get to 22, which is a very old age for a cat. So he's done very well. He's had a good life and everything, and hopefully I'd like to see him make it through the summer and spend some time out in the sunshine again. But we'll have to wait and see. You know, he's still eating well. He hasn't gone off his food yet, but at the moment he's doing okay. I mean, he's come in now, he's gone straight out in the kitchen to have some food, probably a drink as well, so he's okay. But the thing he doesn't do is he doesn't groom himself, so his fur gets quite matted. I mean, he gets a brush, you know, every day he comes up on the computer table and I get the brush out and give him a good brush and everything, but it's not the same as him grooming his fur. So he does get matted, and I've got some clippers that you know, that take them off as I can, as and when I can. It's a good job he's deaf, because he wouldn't like the noise the clippers make. He wouldn't have any of that. But you know, he can't hear. He can hardly hear at all. So the clippers are more. He doesn't like them in his face. He doesn't like anything in his face, basically. So anyway, so that's what's going on with the cat, and that's what's going on with the Pleiones. And as I say, this is my first growing season, so you know, this will be the first bloom that I've grown myself. You know, it's all a learning curve. But quite honestly, these do not take a lot of looking after. So if you wanted something easy, I mean, a lot of people say they're not like the normal orchids. These are terrestrials. They grow in the ground. They're not epiphytes by any stretch of the imagination. Although where they grow wild, they're often found in sort of mossy areas on fallen trees and things. So they're not exactly in the dirt as such, but they can grow in the ground quite happily. My friend Alan's got a huge colony, and they're just growing in the normal garden soil, and they spread and bloom happily where they are. So anyway, I've got well draining media with some moss mixed in to help hold the moisture when they need it, which is through the summer months, feed and water well and all that. So this is how they're doing so far. Now I've got a show coming up in a month's time, and I'd like to have some of these to take in. So it would be nice if one potful at least had some nice blooms to take in with me. The problem is I can't take these in because I haven't had them 6 months. The ones I got, any of these I've had longer, because you're not allowed to enter them in the competitive areas unless you've owned them plants for 6 months. So any of these I could take, but not any of these. These will have to wait until next time round. And because these are all spring bloomers basically, well, they better be as far as I know. The ones I got from Mathers and Burnham's were in bloom when I got them. So yes, Zeus came from somebody else and it's about to flower, so that's a spring bloomer. These are unknown, but I suspect they are all spring bloomers. But there are a group of autumn bloomers. Might be nice to try and get hold of some of them one day, but they would need a different method of growing, presumably. I'd have to have a think about that. But at the moment I've got spring bloomers and we have some growths. We're going to get some blooms, and it's the only pity is that the blooms don't last longer than they do. They are relatively short-lived orchid blooms. 2 to 4 weeks, I'm told. The really short-lived ones, you know, around 2 weeks. And the ones that have got a better life, 4 weeks. Mathers are working on extending those blooming periods and also going for bigger blooms, brighter colours, different colours. You know, they're really working on the yellows, reds and oranges, which are, you know, I think there's only one yellow species, and I don't think there are any orange or red. they're being introduced as such. And although they have some, they haven't got many. They need to clump them up before they've got surplus to be able to sell. And no doubt they will be very expensive. So anyway, that's how mine are doing. And I shall now give them all a good water. And then put them back where they go. And look forward to that bloom opening in probably tomorrow or the next day. It should be fully open. We shall see. But anyway, Pleiones. A new experience that's, these are easy to look after, quite honestly. Because, you know, I mean, when they get into growth and the leaves start to form, you feed and water well. And they can go outside, you know. So they can go outside. They will take low temperatures. They'll probably be okay with a bit of early morning sun or late afternoon sun. You don't have to give them that. It's not like an essential thing. They are woodland type plants, so they would come from areas of dappled shade probably. Yeah, they're very easy to grow and look after because they need so little maintenance, you know, and you've got a period of dormancy, so you've automatically got a period where you can repot without upsetting them, which is what a lot of the epiphytic orchids in, you know, in the rest of our collections are often, you know, that is often their downfall, is repotting at the wrong time or losing a root system, you know, because they didn't like the new media or something. There's so many variables that can actually lose the plants, whereas with these you only repot them when they're dormant, or you set them up in new pots when they're dormant, so they don't ever get disturbed. So it's an ideal, you know, set of circumstances really. So they are prone to pests and diseases as such. According to David Mathers, they are prone to viruses which are spread via insects, so that it is important to keep them bug free. And obviously their system that they use, they take the end wall down in the summer, and although it's screened, there are still some aphids, still a few bugs that get in, and one of the things that they suffer from is potato blight, brought in by the insects, and it can take the you know, can take the plants down. So got to keep them bug free, keep your eye on them. Mine should stay bug free because I haven't really got many bugs, well, hardly any at all really. So but yeah, that is something to watch out for. But anyway, that's the state of play with mine, and see you next time. Bye for now.